Thank you very much for your very pointed and clear question on a matter which is really important. And you point to the framework that we in Europe have put in place under MiCA, which refers to which includes reference to what is otherwise called stablecoins. And the difference with what has now been put in place by the US authorities under the Genius Act. And where, under some of the provisions of MiCA, there is a proposal that there could be issuance of different instruments. I have to confess that I looked carefully at, and my staff has looked very carefully at MiCA, and I'm at pain to find actually reference to multi-issuance in the regulation. And I'm at pain to understand exactly where is the issue of fungibility, which is often referred to in order to expect equivalence, safeguards, and level playing field as well as international cooperation. I hope I'm wrong, and I did not read carefully, and my staff has not read carefully, but I think that in order to be sustainable and to avoid risk of financial stability, which is of concern to us, those key points that you have identified, in other words, the equivalent regime, the safeguards in place, the international cooperation, the level playing field, and access to the reserves, if and where there was an issue, all of that should really be considered and should be decisive before there is authorization to multi-issue and to open our framework to non-European issuance of those stable coins. So we hope that this matter will be under very thorough review. What I can tell you, because I'm also I'm out of my ECB president depth here, but I'm in the depth of my president of the ESRB, and the ESRB will issue in the course of October a specific recommendation regarding those issues.
I have a follow-up, and just to specify, yes, you are right. It's not explicitly mentioned because of a reason, because it was excluded. Fungibility was not intended by the legislator. So that is why we believe that if something like this should be introduced, it should be by new regulations, not by technical kind of documents of any kind. There's nothing to interpret that was clear by the legislator. But anyway, the follow-up question is simply, you mentioned the digital euro discussion and the debate. How do you look at this debate in light also of this emerging idea of European private sector solutions as a sort of a mean to limit the spread of US-backed stablecoins, and those who believe that if we support private sector stablecoins, maybe digital euros project is less relevant? Or how do you see this debate?
We are in for a long debate. Digital euro, to keep it as simple as possible, is digital cash. And cash is the remit of the central bank. And the anchor of our currency is central bank money. If the world is going digital, central bank money should go digital. That's the basic, most simplistic foundation for the project that we are working on and which is really developing well. In addition to that, we want it to be simple to use, so user-friendly, cheap, and we want it to constitute a European solution to payment within the entire euro area, and it can be expanded to non-euro area countries within the European Union as well under certain conditions. This is not mutually exclusive with stablecoins that would be issued by actors in the European Union. So if banks in Europe were to issue stablecoins, it's not mutually exclusive. I think the infrastructure that will be used to, sort of exchange, to settle instrument, whether they are digital euro or whether the stablecoins issued in Europe by European banks, something that is perfectly compatible. Thank you.